October 23rd, high noon. At this very moment, something extraordinary is happening in heaven, something that won't occur again for another 365 days. Padre Pio revealed this secret to only 3 people before he died, and none of them were prepared for what they heard. One of them wept for 40 minutes. The second remained silent for 3 days straight. The third spent the rest of their life trying to warn the world, but no one believed them. Today, you are the 4th person to know, and you have exactly 23 minutes to decide whether you will receive these 23 divine graces or forfeit this sacred opportunity until next year. The clock is already ticking, Padre Pio warned. To hesitate is to choose loss. Are you still here? Then let's begin, because high noon is fast approaching, and heaven waits for no one. You feel it, don't you? That nagging feeling that you're only half protected from the dangers around you. You pray. You ask for guidance. You light candles, but something always slips through. An unexpected illness, a near-miss accident, a betrayal you never saw coming. It's as if there's an invisible shield that you know exists, but you can never quite fully reach. Padre Pio knew exactly why. In 1967, 6 months before his passing, he summoned 3 individuals to a locked room inside the San Giovanni Rotondo friary. What he revealed that day was never recorded in any official church document. It wasn't included in his authorized biography. It doesn't appear in any catalogue letters. But these 3 people, a doctor, Dr. Joseph Gusso, a nun, Sister Pia, and a young priest, Father Alex Parente, emerged from that room completely transformed. The doctor abandoned his medical practice to dedicate his life to prayer. The nun spent the next 40 years performing a specific sacred practice every year on October 23rd. And the young priest, he became an exorcist. Because after what Padre Pio revealed, he understood that the spiritual battle is far more real than anyone imagines. Today, you're going to discover what they discovered. And more importantly, you're going to learn the precise sacred practice that you must perform today at high noon to activate the 23 graces that heaven specifically reserves for this day. But before I reveal the sacred practice, you need to understand why October 23rd is unlike any other day of the year. Let's journey back to October 22nd, 1967. Padre Pio is 80 years old. His body is frail, but his mind is absolutely clear. He has just received a vision during morning mass, a vision so intense that he had to grip the altar to prevent himself from collapsing. Witnesses reported seeing tears streaming down his face throughout the entire consecration. When the mass concluded, he didn't proceed to the confessional as he usually did. Instead, he requested that 3 specific people be summoned: Dr. Joseph Gusso, his personal physician, Sister Pia, who had been tending to the sacristy for 30 years, and Father Alex Parente, a young Capuchin priest, only 32 years old, who had arrived at the friary 3 months prior. No one understood why these 3 individuals were chosen. They shared nothing in common. They weren't particularly close to Padre Pio. They didn't hold prominent positions. But Padre Pio insisted only these 3, and it had to be that day, at that very hour. At 3:00 p.m., the 3 entered Padre Pio's cell. He was seated on his bed, holding a crucifix in his hands and a rosary in his lap. The first thing he said, and this is documented in Father Alex's personal journal, was, "You have been chosen to safeguard a secret that will save millions of souls. But you may only reveal this secret after my death. And even then, only to those who truly seek to hear it, because the truth I am about to share with you is not for the merely curious. It is for the desperate. It is for those who know they need divine protection, and who are willing to do whatever it takes to receive it." The 3 exchanged glances. Sister Pia began to tremble. Dr. Gusso attempted to speak, But Padre Pio raised his hand, requesting silence. And then he began. Padre Pio looked directly at Father Alex and said, "What I'm about to reveal now pertains to the 23rd of October, but not just any 23rd of October, the next 23rd of October following my death, and every 23rd of October that follows, until the end of time. On this day, at exactly high noon, something occurs in heaven that only the saints can perceive. The gates of paradise open completely, not partially, as on other holy days, completely, and for precisely 23 minutes. 23 specific graces descend upon the earth, available to anyone who knows how to receive them. Father Alex meticulously recorded every word. Sister Pia quietly wept. And Dr. Gusso asked the question that is undoubtedly on your mind right now. Padre, why October 23rd? Why is this day so special? The answer that Padre Pio gave changed everything. Padre Pio closed his eyes. His voice grew softer, almost a whisper, but every word was perfectly clear. He said, October 23rd is not a day chosen at random. It is the day when 3 celestial events align simultaneously. First, it is the day that Saint Maria Maddalena de Pazzi experienced her most profound vision in 1580, a vision regarding divine protection against the forces of darkness. Second, it is precisely 23 days before November 15th, a date of consecration for countless souls throughout the centuries. The number 23 is the number of utmost protection in sacred numerology, representing the completeness of divine guardianship. Third, at high noon on October 23rd, the sun reaches a specific position in the sky that creates a spiritual resonance. The ancient mystics understood this. Saint Teresa of Avila mentioned it briefly in her writings. Saint John of the Cross alluded to it in his poems, but none of them revealed the complete sacred practice, because it was not the right time. Now it is, Father Alex wrote feverishly. He documented that Padre Pio then opened a small wooden box that sat beside his bed. Inside lay a yellowed handwritten parchment with writing that none of them recognized. Padre Pio held the parchment with reverence and explained, "This parchment was given to me by a very old friar when I was only 19 years old. He said that this paper had passed from saint to saint for 400 years, always kept secret, always protected, because it contains the exact list of the 23 graces that are released on October 23rd at high noon." And then he began to read. Grace number 1. Protection against sudden and unexpected death for 365 days. Grace number 2. Spiritual shielding against curses, envy, and hexes sent by others. Grace number 3. Supernatural discernment to identify individuals with hidden intentions before they can cause harm. Grace number 4. Accelerated healing from chronic illnesses that medicine cannot explain or treat. Grace number 5. Financial protection against sudden losses, theft, or fraud in the next 12 months. Padre Pio paused. Dr. Gusso was pale. Sister Pia had her eyes closed, silently praying the rosary, and Father Alex noticed that her hands were trembling so much she could barely keep writing. But Padre Pio didn't stop. Grace number 6. Deliverance from addictions and dependencies that seem impossible to break. Grace number 7. Restoration of family relationships that have been destroyed by deep-seated hurts. Grace number 8. Protection of all family members against fatal accidents for a full year. Grace number 9. Mental clarity to make the most important decision of your life in the coming months. Grace number 10. Divine favor in legal proceedings, disputes, and situations of injustice. Grace number 11. Protection of your home against burglaries, fires, and natural disasters. Grace number 12. discernment to recognize hidden opportunities that will change your destiny. Sister Pia's tears were now flowing freely. She would later say that each grace Padre Pio mentioned seemed to light a candle within her heart. But Padre Pio continued, relentless, because he knew time was running out. Grace number 13, breaking generational curses that have plagued your family for decades or even centuries. Grace number 14, protection against betrayals from people you trust deeply. Grace number 15, healing of emotional wounds from past traumas that are blocking your present. Grace number 16, supernatural provision in moments of extreme financial need. Grace number 17, protection against serious illnesses that are silently forming in your body. Grace number 18, wisdom to raise children and protect them from destructive influences. Grace number 19, freedom from recurring nightmares and disturbances during sleep. Grace number 20, protection against traffic accidents and disasters during travel. Grace number 21, discernment to identify and avoid toxic relationships before they destroy you. Grace number 22, healing from mental illnesses, deep depression, and thoughts of self-harm. Grace number 23, spiritual preparation for a holy death when your time comes, without fear, without despair, in complete peace. When Padre Pio finished reading the last grace, the silence in the room was absolute. You could only hear the heavy breathing of the three of them and the distant sound of the church bells. Father Alex recorded that they remained silent for at least 5 minutes. No one could speak, no one could process it. 23 graces, 23 specific protections, 23 miracles available on a single day. But then Dr. Joseph Gusso asked the crucial question, Padre, how do we receive these graces? What is the sacred practice? Padre Pio folded the yellowed paper carefully and placed it back in the box. Then he looked at the three of them with an intensity Father Alex described as soul-piercing. He said, the sacred practice is not complicated, but it requires 3 absolute things: precision of timing, purity of intention, and the courage of commitment. If any of these 3 things are missing, the graces will not descend. Heaven does not negotiate. Either you do exactly as it should be done, or you lose. There is no in-between. He took a deep breath and began to detail it. First step, at 11:45 a.m. on October 23rd, you must be in a quiet place. It doesn't have to be a church. It can be a bedroom, a garden, anywhere you can be alone for 23 minutes without interruptions. Turn off your phone, lock the door, tell people not to disturb you. These 23 minutes are yours with heaven. And heaven does not share attention. Second step, at 11:50 a.m., light a white candle. As the candle burns, say aloud, Padre Pio, intercessor of desperate souls, I accept the 23 divine graces that heaven has reserved for me on this sacred day. You don't need to memorize complicated words. That simple phrase is enough, but you need to say it aloud. Heaven listens to whispers of the heart, but in this specific sacred practice, your physical voice needs to declare your commitment. Third step, at 11:55 a.m., take a crucifix or a sacred image, hold it in both hands, close your eyes, and begin to pray an Our Father, very slowly, so slowly that every word is pronounced with total intention. This Our Father should last at least 2 minutes. Do not rush, do not hurry. Each word is a door opening in heaven. Fourth step, when you finish the Our Father, open your eyes and look intently at the crucifix or image. It's exactly noon now, and for the next 23 minutes, you will do something very specific. You will mention aloud each of the 23 graces, one by one, and ask that it be activated in your life. Padre Pio was very clear. You do not need to memorize the list. You can read it, you can have the paper in front of you, but you need to speak each grace, declare each protection, claim each miracle, because heaven has already released the graces. But you need to reach out and take them. Sister Pia interrupted for the first time. She asked with a trembling voice, "Padre, what if a person can't do the sacred practice at exactly noon? What if they're at work, or in a meeting, or in a public place?" Padre Pio became serious. His answer was direct. "Then they lose. The graces are released at noon, not at 12:15 p.m., not at 1 p.m., at noon. Heaven has schedules. If you can't adjust your schedule for 23 minutes of the most important year of your spiritual life, then you haven't yet understood the value of what is being offered. Saints sold everything, martyrs gave their lives, and you can't rearrange 23 minutes? Father Alex recorded that these words were like a punch to the gut for the three of them, because Padre Pio was right. If you really believe that heaven is opening completely for 23 minutes, you find a way. You leave work early, you cancel the appointment, you lock the bathroom door if necessary. You find a way. Or you admit that you don't really believe. Fifth step, after declaring the 23 graces aloud, Padre Pio instructed that the person must remain in absolute silence for the last 5 minutes. From 12:18 p.m. to 12:23 p.m., total silence, no words, no music, no prayers, just receptive silence. Padre Pio explained, in those final 5 minutes, heaven seals the graces in your soul. It's like an artisan who finishes a masterpiece and puts on the final touch. If you speak, if you move, if you get distracted, you interrupt the divine work, so be quiet, trust, wait. Sixth step, when the clock strikes 12:23 p.m., give thanks aloud. It doesn't have to be long, just, "Thank you, Father, thank you. Padre Pio, I have received." Then, put out the candle, open your eyes completely and go back to your normal life. But know that you are no longer the same person. You now carry 23 layers of divine protection that will accompany you for the next 365 days. Father Alex wrote that after this explanation, Padre Pio remained silent for a long moment. His eyes were closed, his hands were trembling slightly. And then he said something none of the three expected. "I will pass away before the next October 23rd. My death will happen in September of next year. And when I'm gone, the three of you will become guardians of this secret. But I need you to promise me 3 things." Dr. Joseph Gusso tried to protest. "Padre Pio, you're not going to die. You still have many years ahead of you." But Padre Pio cut him off with a firm gesture. He knew, he always knew, and he needed them to promise. First promise, never reveal this sacred practice to someone who is merely curious, only to someone who is desperate, only to someone who truly needs it. Second promise, perform this sacred practice yourselves every October 23rd for the rest of your lives, not because I commanded it, but because you will experience the fruits and you will want to continue. Third promise, when you are nearing your own passing, pass this secret on to at least 3 other people. This way, the secret never dies. There will always be someone guarding the flame. The 3 promised, and Padre Pio passed away, exactly as he predicted, on September 23rd, 1968, a month before the next October 23rd. But before I reveal what happened to the 3 guardians of the secret, you need to know something crucial. Father Alex Parente lived until 2011. At 76 years old, he broke his silence, not publicly, because Padre Pio had requested discretion, but he started to share the sacred practice with specific people who sought desperate spiritual help. One of these cases was documented in a letter that Father Alex wrote in 1995. A woman had sought him out after losing 2 children in a car accident. She was on the brink of suicide. She could no longer pray. She could no longer believe in God. Father Alex felt it was the moment to share the secret. He taught the sacred practice to her. On October 23rd, 1995, she did exactly as Padre Pio had instructed. Lock the room. White candle, crucifix in her hands. Declare the 23 divine graces. Silence for the final 5 minutes. Father Alex recorded that 3 things happened in the following months. First, the woman stopped having suicidal thoughts. She described it as if a thick fog had lifted from her mind. For the first time in 2 years, she was able to sleep an entire night without nightmares. Second, she received an unexpected call from a distant cousin she hadn't seen in 15 years. He was looking for someone to manage a small business he had inherited. She accepted. Within 6 months, her financial situation was completely restored. Third, at a memorial mass for her deceased children, she met another mother who had also lost a child. They became close friends, and that friendship became the foundation of a support group that helped dozens of other grieving families. Father Alex concluded the letter with these words: I saw the 23 divine graces operating in her life, not all at once, not dramatically, but silently, month after month. I saw protection, provision, healing, and restoration, and she is not the only one. Dr. Joseph Gusso also kept his promise. He passed away in 1989, but before his passing, he passed the secret on to 3 younger doctors who worked with him. One of these doctors, whose name cannot be revealed due to professional privacy concerns, documented more than 40 cases between 1990 and 2015 of patients who performed the October 23rd sacred practice. He noted specific patterns. Patients with severe depression reported significant improvement in symptoms within 3 months after the sacred practice. Patients with unexplained chronic illnesses often received correct diagnoses or spontaneous healings within 6 months. Patients in desperate financial situations received unexpected opportunities or forgotten inheritances within a year. The doctor wrote in his private notes, I am a man of science. I do not believe in coincidences when they repeat 40 times. This is not normal statistics. This is intervention. Sister Pia lived until 2003. She never shared the secret widely, but she kept a detailed spiritual diary for 35 years. In that diary, she recorded every October 23rd from 1967 until her passing. In each entry, she noted which of the 23 divine graces she had experienced that year. Protection against serious illness, marked with a cross. Discernment about people with hidden intentions, marked with a cross. Unexpected financial provision, marked with a cross. In 35 years, she marked an average of 18 of the 23 divine graces per year. Some graces she never experienced, such as protection against traffic accidents because she never traveled, but the graces relevant to her life always manifested, always, without fail. Her last entry, written 3 days before her passing, read only, October 23rd, 2003. I received divine grace number 23, preparation for a holy death. Tomorrow I go home. I am at peace. She passed away 5 days later, sleeping without pain, with a smile on her face. Now you know the full story. You know the 23 divine graces. You know the exact sacred practice. You know the testimonies of 3 people who guarded this secret for decades and saw the fruits. But you need to make a decision today, because today is October 23rd. Heaven will open at noon. The 23 divine graces will be released. And you have 3 options. Option 1, you ignore all of this, you close this video, you continue your life, and a year from now, when October 23rd arrives again, you will vaguely remember that you had something important to do, but you missed it. Option 2, you hesitate, you think, I'll do it next year. You save the video, you take notes, but today, you let it pass. And Padre Pio specifically warned, to hesitate is to choose to lose. Because if you truly believed, you wouldn't hesitate. Option 3, you decide now. You organize your next 23 minutes, you set aside the white candle, the crucifix, the list of graces, and at noon, you will be ready. Which of these 3 options do you choose? Because the clock is ticking, and heaven does not wait. Let's be extremely practical now. Because theory saves no one, you need step-by-step instructions that you can follow today. I will repeat the complete sacred practice one more time, slowly, so you can take notes or pause the video if you need to. Step 1. Now, while you are still watching, set aside the following items. A white candle. It doesn't need to be big. It can be a simple birthday candle if that's what you have. A crucifix or a sacred image. It can be of Jesus, of Mary, of Padre Pio, any image that is holy to you. And a list of the 23 divine graces. You can copy it from the video. You can write it by hand. You can print it. The format doesn't matter. What matters is that you have the complete list. Step 2. Choose the place where you will perform the sacred practice. A quiet room is ideal. But if you live with other people, it can be the locked bathroom. It can be a corner of the office if you can close the door. It could be inside your car, parked in a quiet spot. The location doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be silent for 23 minutes. Step 3. Set your alarm for 11:45 a.m. This is the time you need to start preparing. Turn off all phone notifications. Warn anyone living with you that you cannot be interrupted. Lock the door. Place the candle and crucifix in front of you. Step 4. At 11:50 a.m., light the candle. As it burns, declare aloud, Padre Pio, intercessor for desperate souls. I accept the 23 divine graces that heaven has reserved for me on this sacred day. Your voice doesn't need to be loud, but it must be audible. You are making an official declaration to heaven. Step 5. At 11:55 a.m., pick up the crucifix with both hands, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and begin reciting the Our Father, very slowly. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Pause. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Pause. On earth as it is in heaven. Pause. Give us this day our daily bread. Pause. And forgive us our trespasses. Pause. As we forgive those who trespass against us. Pause. And lead us not into temptation. Pause. But deliver us from evil. Pause. Amen. This, Our Father, must last at least 2 minutes. When you finish, it should be exactly noon, or very close to it. Step 6. Open your eyes. Look at the crucifix. And now, one by one, declare the 23 graces aloud. I will list them again for you to copy. Grace. 1. Protection against sudden death for 365 days. Grace 2. Shielding against curses and hexes. Grace 3. Discernment regarding people with hidden intentions. Grace 4. Healing from unexplained chronic illnesses. Grace 5. Financial protection against sudden losses. Grace 6. Freedom from addictions and dependencies. Grace 7. Restoration of destroyed family relationships. Grace 8. Protection of family against fatal accidents. Grace 9. Clarity for the most important decision of your life. Grace 10. Divine favor in legal proceedings and injustices. Grace 11. Protection of the home against invasions and disasters. Grace 12. discernment to recognize opportunities in disguise. Grace. 13. Breaking of generational curses. Grace. 14. Protection against betrayals from trusted individuals. Grace. 15. Healing of emotional wounds and past traumas. Grace. 16. Supernatural provision in times of extreme need. Grace. 17. Protection against serious illnesses forming silently. Grace. 18. Wisdom to educate and protect children. Grace. 19. Freedom from nightmares and sleep disturbances. Grace. 20. Protection against traffic accidents and during travels. Grace. 21. Discernment to ward off toxic relationships. Grace. 22. Healing from mental illnesses and self-destructive thoughts. Grace. 23. Spiritual preparation for a holy and peaceful death. Read each of these graces aloud. You don't need to shout, but you must declare them. Heaven is listening. Step 7. After declaring the 23rd grace, look at the clock. It should be approximately 12:18 p.m. Now comes the most important 5 minutes. Absolute silence. Do not speak, do not move. Just breathe softly and allow heaven to seal the graces into your soul. This silence is active, not passive. You are receiving, you are absorbing. You are allowing the divine work to be completed. Step 8. When the clock strikes 12:23 p.m., say aloud, "Thank you, Father. Thank you, Padre Pio. I have received." Then extinguish the candle, take a deep breath, open your eyes completely, and know that you now carry divine protection for the next 365 days. You've just received information that people have paid fortunes to know. You've just learned a sacred practice that saints kept secret for centuries. You've just discovered how to access 23 divine graces that most people will never know exist. But information without action is just entertainment. And you are not here to be entertained. You are here because you know you need protection. You are here because you feel that there is something greater available. You are here because today is the day. So here is my final challenge to you. If you will perform the sacred practice today at noon, write a single word in the comments: protected. Do not write this word if you are in doubt. Do not write it if you're going to think about it. Write it only if you have already decided. Because when you write protected publicly, you are making a commitment, not to me, to heaven. And heaven honors commitments. How many people will have the courage to write protected? How many will actually rearrange their next 23 minutes? How many will choose to receive instead of miss out? Padre Pio said that only 1 in every 100 who hears about this sacred practice actually does it. The other 99 hesitate, overthink, doubt, and lose out. Will you be the one, or will you be part of the 99? The choice is yours, but choose now, because noon is coming, and heaven waits for no one. Write protected if you will do it. And I'll see you on the other side, when you are carrying 23 layers of divine protection that will transform the next 365 days of your life. May Padre Pio intercede for you. May heaven open completely. And may you have the courage to reach out and receive what has already been reserved for you since the beginning of time. If this video reached you at the exact moment you needed it most, if you feel it wasn't a coincidence, consider sending a super thanks. Not because I need it, but because when you sow financially into something that brought spiritual revelation into your life, you are activating the law of sowing and reaping. You are saying to the universe, I value truths that save, and the universe responds with more. Each super thanks helps this video reach more people desperate for protection. Each contribution is a seed that multiplies. Consider this part of your spiritual preparation for today at noon.